They that hate thee shall be clothed with shame, and the dwelling place of the wicked shall come to naught.
So when you look at the four verses, which, like you said, most people don't even realize there's a third and a fourth verse. The first two, we sort of understand what's going on. It's very descriptive. What were the third and the fourth verse that people don't like to talk about?
We only sing that first verse, the one that ends in a question mark, by the way, which is sort of interesting for a national anthem. But he makes a reference to the hireling and the slave in the third verse. That's a reference to how the British encouraged enslaved Americans to come to their side during the War of 1812 to get their freedom, which thousands did.
He refers to the foul footsteps of the slaves. And actually, part of the cloudiness of his whole background is there's some questions about his attitude towards race, and some people even say he had a big role in sparking a race riot, correct?
That's correct. The first race riot in the nation's capital, called the Snow Riot in 1835.
Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory.
Just wanted to share something with you. Sean King, who writes for the New York Daily News and who I follow on Twitter, and if you don't follow Sean King on Twitter, do so. Sean King is brilliant. And he writes regularly for the New York Daily News. And he wrote this piece called Why I'll Never Stand Again for the Star-Spangled Banner. And I just want to share 3 paragraphs from Sean's piece about this. He says, first off, the song, he's talking about the Star-Spangled Banner. He says, first off, the song, which was originally written as a poem, didn't become our national anthem until 1931, which was 117 years after Francis Scott Key wrote it. Most of us have no true idea what in the hell we've been hearing or singing all these years. But as it turns out, Key's full poem actually has a third stanza, which few of us have ever heard. In it, he openly celebrates the murder of slaves. Yes, really. It goes like this. No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave, and the star-spangled banner in triumph doth wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. And then Sean King goes on to explain what that means. He says, well, it's always been known that the song was written during American slavery, and that when those words about this nation being the land of the free didn't apply to the millions who had been held in bondage, few of us had any idea that the song itself was rooted in the celebration of slavery and the murder of Africans in America who were being hired by the British military to give them strength, not only in the War of 1812, but in the Battle of Fort McHenry in 1814. These black men were called the Corps of Colonial Marines, and they served valiantly for the British military. And Francis Scott Key despised them. He was glad to see them experience terror and death in war, to the point that he wrote a poem about it, and that poem is now our national anthem. While I fundamentally reject the notion that anyone who owned other human beings was either good, moral, or decent, Francis Scott Key left absolutely no doubt that he was a stone-cold bigot. He came from generations of plantation-owning bigots. Yeah, I don't call them plantations anymore. I call them concentration camps. But anyhow, they got wealthy off of it. Key, as district attorney of Washington, fought for slavery and against abolitionists every chance he got. Even when Africans in D.C. were injured or murdered, Francis Scott Key stood strong against justice for them. He openly spoke racist words against Africans in America. Key said that they were, quote, a distinct and inferior race of people which all experience proves to be the greatest evil that afflicts a community, end quote.
Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. If thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.